All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. Have a small 4-game slate here, but it's one that I kind of like. Typically speaking, you never know what you're going to get with a 4-game slate. It's either, not too pretty on paper, but this one has enough out there that I'm pretty excited for. Some games are expected to be close, which means we can stack it a little bit, so should be a fun video. Just a reminder, if you guys enjoy the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Also, if you want access to any of the tools that you see in this video, click the links in the description below. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So looking at the injury situation for today, the biggest thing we are looking at is going to be the injury to KD. We can see with him off, that's a lot of usage that is going to be available for the Brooklyn Nets players. And guys, I forgot to start off with saying, how about that TJ McConnell call from yesterday? That was being pretty huge. But yeah, looking at the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, so Kyrie, you could certainly go with. He was actually a little bit of a letdown against the Thunder. But as a whole, it was still a pretty productive game. Okay, just 7 for 20, wasn't exactly on shooting, but still had 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Still was productive. And so with this matchup against the Spurs, a matchup that should be a good matchup on paper, a matchup that he went for 42 DK points in just 29 minutes against in the previous game, I think Kyrie Irving is going to be a strong starting point. But the price point is very, very high. Okay, so that's what we need to figure out is, do we want to pay it for Kyrie? And I don't know if we do. Okay. He makes for a great safe play, an upside play, but at 9.9, we are asking a lot out of Kyrie, who has been a safe play at under 9K for too long. Okay. His biggest upside game recently was 52, 60, and that was against Charlotte, which was a good team. It's just, I feel like we would very much be playing Kyrie in game stack only. And this is a game that I do like to stack. But let's talk about some other plays here. Seth Curry could be okay. You're asking for him to, make a few 3 balls is pretty much it. Or, be hot shooting the basketball. Royce O'Neal has been a productive fantasy producer the last few games. Could chase him. But the two that really stand out to me are going to be Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons just at this price tag, a very interesting play. The issue with him is that he's just not getting the minutes. We need him to get over 30 minutes, and that hasn't been happening. But at the same time, still should be a very good play with KD off the court. Okay, averages about 8, 8, and 8 with KD off the court. 8 rebounds, 8 points, 8 assists per 36 with KD off the court. He's not going to get 36 minutes, though. Okay, I can't get over this game. 35 DK points without a single basket made. 0 for 3. I mean, that's just wild. But if this game stays close, guys, he should have those rebounds. He should have those assists, and he should be productive. In 24 minutes last time out, he had 31 DK points. Even if he just scores some freaking baskets tonight and the game doesn't blow out, Ben Simmons is just going to be a player we're going out of our way to play. Then I also don't mind Nick Claxton as well. He's also someone that sees a big bump, averages 15 points and 11 rebounds per 36 with KD off the court. We can see last time out against OKC, which is somewhat of a similar matchup, was able to go off against them, against the Spurs last time out in just 20 minutes, was able to get 22 DK points. So, highly productive there as well. As long as this game stays close, like Vegas is expecting it to, that should be the move, is kind of maybe stacking this game on a 4-game slate. That's what I like to do. But let's go ahead. And that's really it for the injuries, significant injuries. Giannis expected back, sat out on the front end of a back-to-back yesterday. So let's go ahead and get into the value report. So as always, I do like to start off with FanDuel. FanDuel has been pricing the studs down. Jokic, $500 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Very interesting there. Kyrie, a little bit more in play, and that's kind of what I was hoping for today on FanDuel, 9.3. I would say you could play him there. I would say on DraftKings, probably look elsewhere. The spot's so good, but I don't know if I can play that price tag. And so already off the back, it does seem like we could stack the Brooklyn-San Antonio game, the game that I personally like the most tonight, maybe more so on FanDuel, because we are getting some good values. Keldon Johnson's cheap. Royce O'Neal's cheap. Joe Harris is cheap. Nick Claxton is cheap on FanDuel, relatively speaking. So there are some great spots there on FanDuel, it seems like. Let's go ahead and get into DraftKings. MPJ popping up there. That's a little bit interesting to me. $700 cheaper on DraftKings. So pulling them up just to see, it's kind of a floor play and a matchup-based play. Obviously going against Portland, a little bit better of a matchup. Went for 29 DK points the previous time out against them. That game ended up being a little bit more of a blowout as well. Obviously, if that game stays close, would be a much better play at that price point. So someone you could look at, but kind of just more of the same. Maybe Brooke Lopez significantly cheaper on DraftKings. Josh Hart, somebody could look at in DraftKings, maybe KCP as well. Malcolm Pirtle. Man, that Brooklyn game is just intriguing because we've seen the Spurs players get more minutes consistently above around 30, and that's been the biggest question mark with a lot of them. So let's go ahead and get into the projected ownership for today's slate. See if we can gain an edge there, and then I'll begin into the first look build. So I always find it interesting to start with where people are starting out their builds, and they are starting with Kyrie Irving on DraftKings. I don't know about that. That feels like a little bit too high of a price tag, does it not? I mean, I like him as a play, obviously. That's just very interesting. Damian Lillard popping up there as well, 37. Okay, projected ownership. So that's kind of the starting point. People are going maybe 2 guards, and then let's see who else is chalky. So you could really get a nice leverage spot on Giannis or Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's expected to have a huge game. Had a huge game against the Clippers the previous time out. So pulling it up, 44 real life points, and had 63 DK points in that game. If he's going to be, around the same or lower than Kyrie and Lillard, that's intriguing to me. So the highest projected owned players on this site, yes, it makes sense. Ben Simmons, people love him, as they should. Good price point for him. But, the minutes need to be there. I wouldn't say it's a lock and load because we got him projected to get 28 minutes. Need more than that. Seth Curry, fine play at his price tag. Royce O'Neal, fine. Malcolm Pearl, like him. Okay, Trey Jones popping up there a little bit too. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into FanDuel. So FanDuel, people are starting out with Kyrie. See, that makes more sense. He's significantly cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. That just makes sense. I would say Lillard should be chalkier on DraftKings, just given the price tag. We see Fred VanVleet getting some ownership there. That's a pretty good price tag. I get that. Keldon Johnson, see highest projected own. Kyrie, VanVleet, Ben Simmons still, Curry. Interesting there. I want to go back to the salaries because Embiid being 7%, once again, like he went off against the Clippers the last time out. That's just an interesting spot, I think. That's something to monitor. And once again, be in the Discord chat before lock because we can touch on some things like this. Yeah, it's a good spot. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the first look build. So once again, for me, the whole point of this video is kind of just to show you the flow of the slate as it sits right now. Kind of just give you guys ideas about the lineup construction for that day so that when injury news comes out and whatnot throughout the day, you know how to properly pivot. You know where to, make your lineup decision. The toughest part in NBA DFS is knowing where to rebuild or when to rebuild and whatnot. So hopefully this kind of gives you guys that help. So I did mention time and time again that I think the Brooklyn San Antonio game is one that you can stack. Now there is the potential for it to blow out. The last time these two teams met, it did blow out, but you could go Kyrie. Okay, obviously, I think Kyrie's a fine price point play. Feel like it could be a little bit risky, but we can see something like Trey Jones, been an extremely consistent fantasy producer recently, just been getting the minutes. That's the biggest thing. Want to point out the last time out against Brooklyn, only had 23 minutes and 21 DK points. Okay, if you give him 7 or so more, he probably does get to 29 or so DK points, which may not be enough to extremely help you, but at the same time, won't hurt you. And so it is a tough price tag. I'd probably rather go with Seth Curry and hope that he gets hopped. Hope that he gets 30 DK points rather than go Trey Jones. But I think either or are going to be good plays. So from there, you probably are just plugging and playing Royce O'Neal. Cheap price tag for him. Keldon Johnson, you could easily play as well. Not a lock and load play by any means, but he is a strong kind of upside play. Last time out against Brooklyn, 25 minutes, 30 DK points. So yeah, the price tag is rough. And maybe we don't go Trey Jones. Maybe we don't go Keldon Johnson because I feel like given their price tags, we are getting them more or less at their ceiling. Now, sure, anyone can go off and break a slate, but as always, just trying to chase like the most likely outcomes. And so for me, I do really like kind of going 2 bigs. Nick Claxton, okay, should be able to go off against the Spurs. Was productive in limited minutes the last game against them. And then I think we'd be looking at also Malcolm Pearl. He's probably the biggest reason why I like this game because the upside's there for him. If he does get around 30 minutes, we have seen him see upside. 50 DK points, 38 DK points. And so as long as this game stays close enough and as long as he gets the minutes, should be productive. In 20 minutes, he had 25 DK points against Brooklyn the last time out. So as long as this game stays close, should be a good play. Now you could go ahead and just kind of blindly click maybe Josh Richardson, try to get some Spurs players in there. It's just, I do feel like Keldon Johnson and Trey Jones are a little bit priced up, so you could potentially look elsewhere there. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I like this base here. We got a kind of a primary stack, and let's see if we can find a secondary stack. So Josh Hart is always something that casually pops up as a play, a decent price point play, looking for someone to get 5X, he'd be a good play. Same thing with the MPJ. He was someone that was popping. I might chase that. I might chase the production in that game against Portland. Then from there, guard-wise, really could do anything. Obviously, could play Kyrie, could play Damian Lillard. And last time out against Denver, 56 DK points. He is someone that consistently consistently gets over 50 DK points more so than Kyrie. So I would much rather play Damian Lillard on DraftKings, especially if he's going to be about the same percent ownership as Kyrie. It's just a little bit too risky with Kyrie. Obviously, he could easily go off and break the slate, but just hasn't seen it. This is his trend line, just straight across the board, maybe like a little spice here and there, where Lillard's just like, woo, doom, woo. It's more of a roller coaster there for Lillard. But in NBA DFS, especially GPP wise, we are trying to chase the upside. So I think Damian Lillard gives us that upside. And now we are going to end up on someone that's a shoulder shrug play to close out this build. And that'd be Josh Hart. I guess Norman Powell as well. That doesn't really move the needle for me too much there. Last time out against Philly, 33 DK points in 23 minutes. Sure, we'll go Powell. So that's the first look build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Give a like and subscribe. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video as well, make sure to click the links in the description below. Be in the Discord chat before lock as well. Always some good stuff in there. But yeah, that's all we have for you for this video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, good luck.